I know it's getting pretty weird and funky out there. Like, it's scary times. And I think everybody's hunkered down. Like, what is going on here? We all know stuff is messed up. I don't think many people know what to do about it. And I wanted to try to give some hope, some sense of, okay, yes, we can look at this external world. We can look at all of this stuff going on. And we can say, yeah, maybe it's not good. It's definitely not good, some of it. But at the same time, do we have to despair? Do we have to freak out? Do we have to say this is the end of whatever, the end of the world, the end of the U.S. empire, the end of our democracy, the end of whatever we personally are attached to that we don't want to end? So I want to talk about how we can put this into context and really see that there is a bigger picture here. There is human development. There is progress here. And I know that sounds like just a mantra. Like, I watch quite a few videos from more spiritual people out there, and I still talk to a lot of scientists every day. Both worldviews are interesting. A lot of the spiritual side is like, hey, this is awesome. We're going to ascend. I mean, I don't get into really all of the rapture stuff, but there are a lot of people talking about rapture right now. That's an extreme form that I'm not into that. But whatever. There are a lot of people talking about big, energetic, and whatever changes happening. And then there are the people who don't believe in that stuff, who believe in a materialist model of everything. And I'll explain what I mean by materialist later. I'll just say that it doesn't mean that you like to buy lots of stuff. It's not that kind of materialism. It's a philosophy of materialism is a philosophy of that all of this that we see is based on material atoms. We'll just say atoms to make it simple, connected together. And that's all there is. There's no other sort of layer of reality, or there's no other real stuff going on but that. And that creates everything like this consciousness and so on. So there are those two models. And it's hard especially for people who are more steeped in the materialist model, like I've been most of my life, to see what's going on and not have a little bit of a freak out right now. To not have a holy crap, this is bad, and it seems to be getting worse daily. I get it. I've been there. And I still sometimes fall into the freak out zone. I still sometimes can go into those old patterns. But I want to talk about a shift in the sort of mindset of really understanding that maybe there could be something going on bigger here. That's really what I want to encourage you to think about. That maybe it's not all bad. Maybe human progress, maybe even if we look at the worst times in human history and say, yeah, we wouldn't want to repeat that. But often the question is, do we know what would have happened to humanity if those things hadn't happened? Do we know what kind of progress we would have made if we hadn't had such negative things in our history that we all, or many of us at least, had to stand up and look and say, no, we're not doing that. That's bad. What I'm saying is that sometimes we humans seem to need to see some really bad things happen as a consequence of choices that we make, of systems that we put into place, or inaction, just laziness or apathy. We need to see these negative consequences really up in our face, affecting us personally, before we wake up and say, there's probably a better way. And I think that's exactly what's going on right now. I think that we are all being provided, we are a witness to the consequences of a confluence of several things, one of which was, especially here in the United States, a lot of apathy, real apathy about our politics, real business as usual. It's good enough, we have it pretty well here, so why should we mess with the system? Except that there were a lot of problems in the system that we had established. There was a lot left to improve, but nobody really was wanting to step up and improve it or speak up. A second thing related to apathy is for those of us who don't like some of the political sort of authoritarianism kind of stuff that's happening, myself included, we look at that and we've seen its rise and we've just stepped aside and said, that's scary, but what can I do? What can I do? Clearly, we can do things about it. A lot of us are stepping up now to push back, but man, it would have been a lot easier if we had stepped up earlier and said no to this stuff. It would have been way easier. Maybe next time, right? Probably not again in my lifetime, and probably not even in the next generation's lifetime will this kind of happen again after we manage to overcome it. And I think we will. I'm not saying it's going to be linear or easy, but I think we will overcome it at some point. So I think it's here to learn. So I want to just say one more thing to keep this video short, is that I understand if you're coming from that background, if you've been trained scientifically, technically, you've probably been trained in the materialist model, even if you don't know it. And what the materialist model at its heart says is that things like this that happen, they just happen randomly as a product of particular circumstances, and it's just very unfortunate that they happen, but there's nothing you can do about it. It's random. The universe is random. I like to call it the temple of randomness. Praying, oh dear Lord, randomness, please do not frown upon me. Please, randomness, bring me nice things, not bad things. In other words, it's a lottery mentality, the temple of the lottery of life. And I'll tell you that that's a very hollow philosophy. It's a very disempowering philosophy. I have moved from myself having that philosophy to a philosophy of things happen for a reason. Things happen for a reason. I remember talking to a client who was a scientist at one point who was like, I don't believe that there's any lesson in life events or that things happen for any reason. And I know it's a trite spiritual sort of saying, oh, things happen for a reason. And it's easy to sit back and be all like skeptical and say, oh, you're just being whatever. But what is the actual disproof that things happen for a reason? If you're a materialist, like really wedded to that point of view, what is the evidence against it? Because you can't ever prove a positive theory in science. This is actually an axiom of science. You can't prove the positive. You can only prove for sure the negative. You can get a lot of support for the positive. You can get a lot of evidence for the positive. That's why it's so hard when somebody comes out with something new that there's so much pushback, because you can't just in one fell swoop say, see, here, I proved it. It's correct. No. So we can't prove the positive, but we can prove the negative. So that's the most powerful thing that we can actually do in science, is get a negative result or prove the negative, prove that it's not that, so we know where else to look. So the question is, can we prove that it is not something else going on? We can't. We also can't prove that it's not randomness, but there's actually more evidence that it's not randomness, if you actually look for the evidence, than that it's not some kind of other thing going on. Now, I'm not saying that there's evidence for actual like divine intervention or something, but there's evidence. If you look, just look up, I'll do another video about this. Look up the Princeton pair experiments. Over 10 years of experiments showing mind influencing matter. And because this is getting long, I have to end there. I want you to take heart. I want you to feel like maybe there is something to this. Maybe there's something that we all can gain from this crazy time. All right, I'll see you next time.